Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome to UEG Week Virtual 2021.
Whatever your level of expertise, you will find the best and latest updates on UEG Week Virtual.
I wish you those days full of interesting, diverse and creative content.
I count on your contribution and I thank you.
Viel Freude, ingest the best.
Ingest the best.
Just the best.
Ingest the best.
Ingest the best.
キーワードは ingest the best です。
Get ready to ingest the best.
Ingest the best.
Ingest the best.
And we're back in the live studio. We've missed you so, dear registrants of UEG Week 2021. This is our UEG Week Tonight show, where we will be awarding the best journal paper, and we'll also be exploring the research prize a bit more and hearing about guidelines and where we are with that within UEG. Please welcome our on-site faculty. They are Professor Magda Simran, Secretary General, Professor Joost Drenth from the journal, Nicolas Richard, our Journal Best Paper Awardee winner, and Luigi Ricciarello, our Research Committee Chair. Welcome back, everyone.
Thank you.
Also welcoming Wafa Kunusi from the Quality of Care Task Force. How are you, Wafa? I'm so sorry we didn't get to have you in studio this year.
Hello, Jonathan. I'm glad to be here, but I would prefer to be there. For
yes,
sure.
I know, and such a shame you couldn't make it. And Dirk Haller, our research awardee winner, thank you so much for joining us again. Just to pick up on our conversation, we were hearing about your talk, repurposing mitochondria protective targets for adjuvant IBD. Tell us a little bit about your team and the work has gone into researching this sort of topic, because it is quite exploratory.
Well, you know, the team I'm heading here in Munich has really two pillars, two types of interests. One is the question of how the microbial communities would act on the gut, on certain chronic inflammatory pathologies, especially IBD, and to some extent on colorectal cancer. And the other part of the team, on the other side of the fence, usually would deal with epithelial biology and questions how epithelial cells mature, how they close wounds, how they would regenerate the tissue lining. And you know, now with this prize, and you know, this is work we're planning since a while, but with this prize we can actually turn down the wall between these two research lines in my lab and actually bring things together, and that's great.
What does the prize mean for your institute, and have you already spent the €100,000?
Well, in my mind, yes, and you know, I'm usually not giving money back, so I'm good in spending money. But the great thing on this type of awards is that there is little strings attached, and it's going to be a pleasure to report back what our outcomes are. That is easy, but we don't really have to write long reports, and we're not kind of fixed in certain things we have said a year back. So we're free. We can do things. We can explore different avenues, and that's fantastic.
Luigi, when will the next call open so that someone watching at home, listening to Dirk, can think, well, I have a project that might fit this description?
So hopefully in December. We are in the process of evaluating possible dates, but I think in December we will have the new call for next year.
And tips and tricks for people applying for this particular award?
Well, Dirk is the perfect example, I think, because it's a proof of concept project it brings innovation. It delivers, in 3 years, sufficient data to conclude the project. So they need to really look into the feasibility of the project and the sustainability. And of course, the CV is also a very good part of the proposal.
In Ireland, we say your head must be swelling with all of this praise you're getting, Dirk, for the prize. And actually, we're not quite done with that. We have a bit of a surprise for you.
Hello, Dirk. Congratulations. We know each other. My name is Silvio Danese for my colleagues from San Raffaele University in Milano, Italy. And congratulations, Dirk, for your award. As you know, I've been awarded in 2019 for the UEG Research Prize Award for the role of the virome in inflammatory bowel disease. And I'm very glad that you got this award this year. It's excellent news and looking forward for your fantastic research. Good luck.
Nice to hear from a colleague.
That's very great to hear some warm words from Silvio. It's great. I still remember at the UEG those days when he gave his lecture on the virome, and I said, "Damn, I would love to get such a prize."
Well, it turns out all you need to do is just dream, and there it happens. Congratulations again, Dirk. So, Magnus, the research prize is just one thing, but UEG contributes quite a lot to funding in relation to advocacy work in Brussels. Can you tell me why that is and what sort of initiatives there are?
I mean, it's important to raise awareness of our field in general and to improve patient care and to get more money into research funding for us. And so therefore we do a lot of advocacy at the EU level through the Research Committee and the Public Affairs Committee. And we prioritize to promote chronic digestive disease prevention and control, and to have them included in the EU health strategies and funding. And we would like to recognize digestive diseases as an umbrella term to be as considered a major group of diseases, just like cardiovascular and respiratory diseases, in order to promote funding and patient care. Very good.
Luigi, what are UEG's future research policy priorities, do you think?
So, well, actually, we are conducting a project, and this is the new white book, the white book 2.0, which follows actually a previous work that was done by a previous committee that we had at UEG, which was called the Future Trend Committee. So, what they did, they conducted 2 surveys. Reporting on the need for data, to get data on digestive disease across Europe, and then to look for the development of the disease in the future in 2040. So what we are doing now with the White Book 2.0 is to look for the socio-economic burden of digestive diseases across Europe. And then, of course, what we want to do is we want to look at the research gaps that we are recognizing. And this is going to be important because with this new project, we want to go with the authorities, the stakeholders, and promote more research in specific settings that we are recognizing. And so I think it's going to be extremely important to have the output of this project that is going to be done next year.
And data collection, really important as part of it.
It's so important, yes.
Yeah. Joost, as editor-in-chief of the UEG Journal, I wanted to know, did the COVID pandemic have a big effect on the quality of science that came in over the year, do you think?
No, I think I'm a numbers guy, so actually the number of publications went really up, I have to say. And
wow.
In particular, we got a lot of good papers. I remember one day I was at the endoscopy suite and I got a phone call from a colleague in Germany and said, Joost, the COVID pandemic is going on and I have an interesting series of patients where I report the liver abnormalities in COVID-19. So I thought, this is interesting. So we took the paper, it was published, and it's a real hit. It's really attracting a lot of attention. So I was happy to have that in our fold.
So is it COVID that's accounting for the increased number of papers, or is there something else?
Well, COVID actually, has an impact on us as human beings, on diseases of people. So all the interacting points are being explored, and I think that's the main source of papers that we got. We also got a paper from the Chinese Endoscopists Association, where they really outline how you should do endoscopy under these circumstances of the pandemic.
Was there any publications over the year that made you think, wow, this is going to change everything?
Well, you have to realize that knowledge is building up gradually, and so we move from step
every
to
time
step.
I interview a scientist, they always say that. But I mean, a paper that really did something that surprised you, perhaps.
Well, the paper that we got this year, the position paper on pancreatic cancer, I think that's a good paper. The senior author is sitting next to you, and that really shows what is known about pancreatic cancer, what are the advocacy procedures that should be in place, and how are we going to change the outlook of this detrimental disease. We have a disease here where the survival is dismal over the years, and we really cannot change it. So more efforts are being needed there.
I believe there is a podcast, and as a radio person, I'm very interested in how you're putting this together. Tell me about the UEG podcast.
Yeah, good. 2 trainee editors are actually driving it, Kasia Paulak and Iago Rodriguez Lago. They have joined it, they made it in a team, and they are doing the podcast. So they're interviewing senior authors or first authors of the papers, and they ask questions with respect to the background of the paper, what is the implication of the paper, and that really attracts a following. And by the way, I told you I'm a numbers guy, so social media on UEG Journal already attracted more than 4,500 followers, and that's also being done by our trainee team. So I think very proud of that.
Well, you should be. And I think there's huge potential in podcasts because you can really go quite niche and target exactly the audience you want, and they will love it because no one else is really tackling the issues that they want to do. So I think for something like UEG, podcast is a great idea. Tell me about the Journal Best Paper Award.
Well, the Journal Best Paper Award goes for a paper that has an impact in the field, that is really there to change the clinical practice of us physicians. And I think the paper that we selected this year exactly fills that spot.
How do you go about selecting candidates? What are you looking for from this paper?
Well, we ask our trainee editors in order to do a sort of pre-selection. So they came with a huge selection of papers, and we narrowed that down as an editorial team. But the prize winner, I have to say, Jonathan, was crystal clear.
Okay, well that's good. I can see him smiling beside you, trying to contain his happiness as we discuss his work. We are joined in studio, as you've probably guessed, by this year's winner of the Journal Best Paper Award, Nicolas Richard. He is a resident in the Department of Gastroenterology at Rouen and is also doing his MS in biology at the University of Rouen in France. His winning article was The Effectiveness of Rotating versus Single-Course Antibiotics for Small Intestinal Bacterial Overgrowth. Please join me in congratulating our Best Paper Award this year, Nicolas Richard. Congratulations, Nicolas.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, Nicolas, this is your prize. You fully deserve it. You have done a great job, and congratulations to you and the team in Rouen and also in Gothenburg.
Thank you, Jules.
So, Nicolas, how does it feel? That's a pretty sweet prize you got there.
Well, I must say that I'm really, really delighted to receive this prize. I'm thrilled also to be here with you in Vienna. When I started my medical study, I wouldn't have guessed to win such a prize. I'm really grateful to the selection committee, to use and to use the UEG journal, of course, for this prize. But I also like to thank my co-authors, and more specifically Chloé Melchior and Guillaume Goursol, who helped me to achieve this paper. And beyond that, receiving such an award for a young researcher like me, it's a great opportunity. It's really some of extra motivation to go further, to write, of course, new clinical or research articles. And yeah, I'm really happy to receive it. Maybe it could be also an advantage for building new research project. And beyond this prize, I would like to thank the UEG and the UEG Journal for the place they give to young researchers by proposing dedicated sessions, for example, or by proposing financial support.
Well, we've been talking on this stage many times about the importance of young talent, and it's almost a selfish thing to recognise the excellence of young researchers, because your path now is probably set in stone, as you'll end up doing digestive science, I'm sure. Tell me a little bit about your paper, Nicolas.
Well, we tried to give a practical answer to a practical issue. I mean, the starting point of this study was the treatment of SIBO, of small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, in patients which are suffering from, for example, diarrheas or abdominal pain. And in this patient, we have only or very few level of evidence. Often they are treated empirically, and especially in countries like in France, where rifaximin is not available. And through this study, we investigated a wide range of antibiotics, and among them, we find what we think is the best option, which is a rotating antibiotic treatment. Just to tell you a little bit more about that, rotating antibiotic treatment is made of azole and quinolone antibiotics, one after the other, for 10 consecutive days for 3 months. And maybe the last main point of this article is that when we are treating successfully patients with small intestinal bacterials, we observe a decrease in symptoms, and especially in bloating, which is a quite challenging symptoms.
I see you nodding along there, Luigi. This is a great example of the sort of science that we can hope to see from these award winners.
Well done.
Definitely.
Wonderful.
Congratulations.
Congratulations once again to our Best Paper Award winner, Nicolas Richard. So the results from Nicolas' paper, I suppose, does have the potential to change clinical practice in the near future. UEG Journal is also a highly prominent publication for practical guidelines and consensus statements. Joost, tell me about the guidelines in the journal and how you publish them.
Yeah, I think an important asset for the journal is actually indeed what you say, the guidelines. I mean, clinicians really use the guidelines in order to guide them through practice. And we are very proud to have a number of clinical guidelines. For this year, for example, we published a guideline on microscopic colitis. We did one on functional dyspepsia, and also one guideline on gastroparesis. And there are 2 guidelines upcoming on breath test in gastroenterology. So they are very important pieces of work, I have to say. Takes long time in order to get them to the publication stage, but I think they are well read and well cited.
And I know they're so important, as you say, to the community who use them every day in their clinical practice. Wafa, I'm so sorry to have left you so long waiting from wherever you are at the moment. But this guidelines, of course, is a major part of your work. How does UEG support the development of guidelines and disseminating them out to their audiences?
Yeah, actually, UEG gives big importance actually to develop quality of care in general, and we know that guidelines are pivotal to do this actually, to increase quality of care in general. And I'm sure that Joost is always happy to have really good guidelines in the paper, and they have been actually 8 practice guidelines published in UEG Journal for the last couple of years, coming out of the activity grant scheme that quality of care is managing and help funding. So just to make you aware of what we do is that through this activity grant, quality of care in UEG helps actually develop new guidelines. This is a new type of project that we are funding. It started in 2018, and since then we had really terrific projects and successful guidelines already published in the journal. How do we select what are the priorities for this activity grants? Just to give you a little bit of history. At the beginning, we thought that a gap analysis actually to find where guidelines are lacking and standards of practice are lacking. They have been a gap analysis that have been made in collaboration with Spanish Gastroenterology Society, providing a very extensive list actually of niche areas and really interesting pathologies that are lacking actually guidelines. So we have promoted the activity grants and we started funding guidelines that propose actually projects in those gap areas. And it was very successful. And the call is updated every year. And now we are in the final steps of updating the call for 2021-2022. And just stay tuned to participate in the call if you have any guidelines in preparation, and check the gap area that is in the call. Other important actually criteria for the selection process is multidisciplinarity and collaborative effort, but also the high quality methodology that is used during this project and this development of guideline. And for that, actually, the Quality of Care has published recently in UEG journal a framework for guideline developers, but also for guideline readers to be aware of the quality actually in the development of guidelines, whatever actually all levels of development are included in this paper. So just please, if you're interested in this call, check the framework so you'll be aware of the methodology and the high quality methodology that we are expecting in those projects. Other criteria that are really crucial is improving actually the quality, of course, but also including young GIs and young fellows in the process, and also expert panels and multiple specialty areas, not only one specialty, and expert societies, of course, in the field. After the project is completed, the paper is published in UEG journal, and afterwards, this is a very crucial step for us, is to include those papers and those really good guidelines in a new GI guideline app that we have been prepared actually and launched 2 years ago now. And it is a terrific success because it has had actually more than 15,000 users now. So yeah, this is a very good outcome actually for the papers that are published in UEG journal to be implemented in this app. I will talk a little bit more about it later. And those papers also go to the repository that maybe you are aware of. On the website, we have a very extensive repository of high quality documents, whether practice guidelines or standards of the care or position papers that are coming from all societies and areas of gastroenterology that are available for free on the website.
Great, thanks very much for that, Wafa.
Some ways actually UEG supports guidelines.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the app now, so if you can see my phone, you just open up the app. It's available in the Play and the iPhone store, the Apple store. You can choose your categories here. There's lots of different categories, and there's diagnostic tools. You can go in there. Assessment of left lower quadrant pain, vomiting, yes. Difficulties unlikely. So you can go in and adjust the tool. And one of the new features in this is the ability to share subchapters with just a few clicks. So you can send specific content from the app to anyone you'd like via email, SMS, WhatsApp, Twitter, Facebook. So it's just really, really easy to do that. I don't know how to do that, as I forgot how to check it, but it is very easy to do, and you can do it within the app. So Wafa, it's a really useful tool to have in your pocket as you go about your work as a clinician.
Yeah, actually, it was developed for this purpose. We have noticed that guidelines are really made in a very high quality methodology, etc., but they are let's say, difficult to digest documents for everyday practice. So we intended actually to make them user-friendly, and especially in a very busy work environment, you need to get to your answer really as quickly as possible. So we made this terrific interactive tools in collaboration with the provider. So you can go, for example, for celiac disease or for other guidelines that are already in the app, through actually patient-oriented interactive algorithms. So you get really quickly to the answer of your patient in front of you, of the clinic, for example. And it is a very valuable tool for young GIs, but also for experts, because it's actually the spectrum of the guidelines there is very broad. It's multidisciplinary, and it's actually latest updates of the guidelines. And we are actually, it's a progress, it's a work in progress. And we are improving the functionalities every time, and we are adding more and more guidelines. So stay tuned, actually, so you will know what are the new guidelines that will be put really recently in the app.
Well, I think it's great. I mean, I've never done one, but I feel like just looking at this, I feel comfortable to do a bariatric surgery now. So this is a fantastic app. Thanks very much for that, Wafa. Okay, quickly, your picks for tomorrow, gentlemen. What are you looking forward to, Luigi?
So there are innovation on colorectal cancer. I'm looking forward to that. But there's going to be a very important session on the future of research. And this is going to be together with Silvio Danese, with Dirk Haller is going to be in the session, and Tamara Matisiak-Budnik. And we are going to discuss openly, issues about the future of research, providing, information to young researchers. So please connect on this session, because it's going to be really fun.
Very good. Magnus?
Food is very important for life and for the gastrointestinal tract. We're hungry now.
I'm hungry.
But there are a lot of nice sessions on diet and nutrition tomorrow, and I really look forward to those sessions. So go to those sessions.
Excellent. Joost?
We learn most from our mistakes that we make on a daily basis. So the mistakes session is one to go for, I would say.
Yeah, very good. I am looking forward to my chat with the President-elect, Elena Cortés Pinto. We'll be talking about her vision for the next 2 years, and also what is her recipe for success. You can join that discussion tomorrow in the My UEG community section of the platform. If you would like to visit the e-poster section, we were talking a little bit about it earlier. There's an opportunity for you to email those presenters and get a response if they're not there and then. And don't forget, tomorrow is your last chance to win the treasure hunt. Explore the platform, click on our mascot, Doc Anus, and you can win some UEG Week merchandise, as well as free registration to next year's hybrid UEG Week event. That's it from me. I'll see you tomorrow in the studio at 8 a.m. bright and early for our last UEG Week Digested. Have a great evening. Thanks to everyone in studio and to our remote faculty. We'll see you. Good night and good luck. Thanks, guys.